The ancient Sith Lord Marka Ragnos is by far one of the most powerful in the history of any Force wielder. The era of the ancient Sith has always been one that has been extremely interesting to me. According to more modern Force users, the ancient Jedi, but specifically the Sith, outclassed the more modern Force users' power exponentially. Strangely enough, comparing the two of them is almost unfair concerning records, as nearly every modern Force user would be absolutely decimated by the power of an ancient Sith Lord. Why this has been up for debate for years, ever since the existence of the old EU in Star Wars mythos. Many have said because of the timeline, the Force was at a purer level, and that those that could wield the Force had more of a pure connection to it. Others have said that the ancient Sith Lords were more powerful because of their inherent bloodline, being from the original Sith race, and because of their natural inherent connection to the dark side of the Force because of their race, they were far more powerful than any more modern Sith Lord. Today though, specifically, we will be talking about the ancient Sith Marka Ragnos, who was considered one of the pure Sith leaders of his era and led the Sith into their golden age. Marka Ragnos was a rare Sith Lord whose reign was never challenged. Many of the Sith that followed him just considered him to be the most powerful Force wielder that they knew. In Marka's younger age, he proved his dominance over any Sith Lord that would come against him, raising up his armies and destroying them utterly. What made Marka Ragnos interesting is he never encountered a Jedi during his physical lifetime, only after his death as a spirit. Marka Ragnos was also a Sith Lord that explained that he preferred the use of the ancient Sith sword over the lightsaber, and outright would refuse to use the lightsaber in combat. Marka Ragnos reigned with a powerful scepter, hidden within the scepter his Sith sword. The location of the sword only he ever knew of. Even following his death, Marka Ragnos was a Dark Lord that was highly respected by the following Sith that knew about his existence. Sith that would come centuries later, such as Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma, held a great reverence for Marka Ragnos. In fact, Marka Ragnos was the Dark Lord that would crown Exar Kun the one true Lord of the Sith. What was amazing about the reign of Marka Ragnos is he was never defeated by another Sith Lord and overthrown. He simply died of old age. His connection to the Force though was so powerful that he was able to return at his own funeral. Despite never encountering a Jedi in his physical life, he still held a deep hatred for them, and was in fact one of the first ancient Sith Lords that sparked the rivalry between the Sith and the Jedi. Marka Ragnos hated them because his very ancestors had been Jedi themselves, cast out from the larger order. Once, we were mighty Jedi of the Republic, brothers in the Force. But the great schism between the dark side and the light side turned Jedi against Jedi. Our ancestors were defeated, driven off, cast out. Because of Marka Ragnos' hatred, he was able to remain in the physical realm of existence for over a century, reigning as the one true Dark Lord of the Sith for that entire century. If there was even a whisper of another Sith Lord that was to challenge Marka Ragnos, he would destroy them utterly. Marka Ragnos was also a phenomenal worksmith. During his reign, he designed 2 gauntlets that would siphon the powers from non-Force users, increasing one's own connection to the dark side. If anyone were to wear the gauntlets, their connection to the Force would be significantly bolstered. Marka Ragnos is also most famous for discovering one of the other most powerful Sith Lords in the existence of the entire Sith Order, a Sith Lord who many believe even rivals the power of Darth Sidious the Great. This Sith Lord was named Tenebret, later given the name Darth Vitiate by Marka Ragnos himself. Vitiate, centuries later, after Marka Ragnos' death, would go on to corrupt such great Jedi as Revan and Alec, giving them their calling as true Dark Lords, as Darth Revan and Darth Malak. Marka Ragnos, in every sense, was the origin of the more modern Sith Lord. Thousands of years after this, Marka Ragnos would even encounter the modern Sith Lord Darth Plagueis, warning Plagueis of his eventual demise, an encounter that Darth Sidious would write about in the Book of the Sith, with even Sidious noting the great importance of the Sith Lord Marka Ragnos as one of the original Dark Lords. Marka Ragnos was also the pioneer of some of the most horrific dark side abilities we know about, now. Ragnos was famous for wielding Sith magic, a very special kind of Sith magic that he personally developed. He was also well learned in the Sith rituals. Even following his death, Marka Ragnos showed the rare ability of possession, being able to take control of someone's body who was significantly weakened. When concerning his skill in battle, we have not a single record of Marka Ragnos ever being defeated. Although his history in duels is not quite as noteworthy as a Sith Lord such as Tulak Hord, it is still very impressive. Unlike Tulak Hord, Marka Ragnos focused more on the Force than his skill with the ancient Sith blade. However, when Marka Ragnos did have to personally fight, he was described as unbeatable. However, he was very similar to the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. His skill with the ancient Sith blade was very impressive, but it was not beyond anything that we've ever encountered. Again, with Sith Lords such as Tulak Hord being far more impressive in a duel than Marka Ragnos. However, his skill of the Force was unrivaled, meaning, just like Darth Sidious, that although his lightsaber or sword skills were not as impressive as other Sith Lords, his dark side abilities were beyond even the greatest. In a duel, Marka Ragnos would pull all of the dark side energies in his surroundings into his very body, amazingly making him essentially unwoundable in a battle, meaning that even if he went up against a superior swordsman, he would win, simply because his connection to the dark side of the Force was too strong to be overcome. Amazingly, Marka Ragnos even pioneered another ability, an ability that many Dark Lords would attempt to recreate with little success. As I explained earlier, the scepter of Marka Ragnos housed his ancient Sith warblade. The scepter, though, had a unique power of its own. Just like the gauntlets he had created, it could actually siphon the Force powers from Force sensitives, or even what little Force remained in non-Force sensitives. If he so desired, he could literally give those that did not hold a connection to the Force an ability to use it indefinitely, simply by bestowing upon them the siphons that he had collected himself. Marka Ragnos could literally give the Force as a gift. Marka Ragnos' tomb on Korriban was the most famous site of any Sith temple. What was unique about Marka Ragnos' tomb is his spirit actually roamed its halls following his death. If a Sith Lord desired, they could actually go there and converse with the spirit of Marka Ragnos, experiencing his wealth of dark side and Sith knowledge. However, his spirit was in fact dangerous, and if one was not powerful enough, they risked possession by the spirit of Ragnos. But this was yet another installment on why I believe Marka Ragnos is one of the most extremely underrated Sith Lords that we know about in the Star Wars galaxy. He's again a rare Sith Lord that was never defeated or overthrown, not even by another Sith Lord. Even great Sith Lords like Darth Sidious or Tulak Hord were betrayed by other Sith. Marka Ragnos, though, never was. The Sith people actually loved Ragnos. Not to mention the limited knowledge that we have of Marka Ragnos engaging in battles, he was also never defeated. He was a rare Sith Lord that other Sith Lords never really seemed to criticize. They obeyed his teachings and philosophy unflinchingly, and that is why Marka Ragnos is both crazy powerful and crazy underrated. But anyway guys, leave your own thoughts on Marka Ragnos in the comments down below, and did you know much about this ancient Sith Lord before this video expose? Also, where do you think Marka Ragnos ranks in the most powerful Sith Lords in all of the Star Wars history? What's interesting about this particular question is I've seen him all over the list of ranking. I've seen Marka Ragnos be placed as number 1 as the most powerful Sith Lord, and I've seen him never make the list at all. So again, I'm really curious to hear your guys' answer to this question. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching the video. May the Force be with you, and have a great day. Before you go, be sure to check out my other channel, The Marvelous Wave, where we talk all about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including news, breakdowns, and theories about all upcoming and past Marvel movies. Link to the channel is in the description below.